And throughout describing the different attachment styles, you use mother a lot. And one of the things you mentioned in being there is that there's a myth that mother can be replaced. For example, in the first 3 years, that if you replace the mother, for example, with the father and so on, that everything will be fine. Could you describe in a little bit of detail why the replacement of the mother may not necessarily work well with children?
Well, and there are exceptions. So I do want to say there are exceptions of fathers that I've treated that are very nurturing and loving. And, so it's not as if all fathers are not what we call sensitive empathic nurturers, but hormones affect our nurturing behavior. And that is just an organic physiological truth. And there's lots of research, neuroscience and epigenetics research, on how hormones affect our caretaking behaviors. And what that means is that oxytocin, which is the primary neurotransmitter or love hormone that mothers produce in great quantities when they give birth, when they breastfeed, when they nurture their young, it produces in them what we call sensitive empathic nurturing. Almost a hyper-vigilance about a baby's distress, emotional distress, where they really tune into that baby's distress. Whereas fathers, testosterone is more closely connected to something called vasopressin, which is what we call the protective and aggressive hormone, which makes them, just as it sounds, more protective and aggressive. If you think of the evolutionary reason for this, it was, if a predator was chasing you, the father would lure the predator away or fight the predator while the mother escaped with the babies. I mean, that's in most creatures, that's sort of how it goes. But oxytocin can be found in fathers, particularly if they stay home and they're nurturers of children. Their oxytocin levels rise, but believe it or not, it doesn't impact them the same way it impacts women. It actually has a different impact on their behavior. Lots of oxytocin in men makes them more tactile, playful, stimulating caregivers. So it makes them more playful, tickling the baby, wrestling with the baby, throwing the baby up in the air, encouraging exploration and play and roughhousing. And it's sort of how fathers nurture, which is really important for the process of separation, because it's really important that fathers play a role in separation, because there are a lot of children born to single mothers by choice or single mothers not by choice that have trouble separating from those mothers because they don't have that kind of seducing them away through roughhousing and play and physical play and, sort of exploratory play. So it really, you'd say the hormones affect our caretaking behaviors, our nurturing behaviors. And it's not to say that they're not both necessary, but for sure, a father is not exactly a mother. Now, a father can be taught that to tone down the playful stimulation,
yes,
and to increase the sensitive empathic nurturing. And when I work with like two gay fathers, where one of them is, I say, which one of you is the mother? And they look at me like I have three eyes, like a politically incorrect statement. I'm like, no. One of you has to play the role of the mother, which is one of you has to really be hyper vigilant about distress. And that means that you don't dismiss it and you don't cajole them out of it and you don't sort of, distract them, but you actually tune into their distress. And, oh, honey, I can see you're sad. Mommy's sad too, or daddy's sad too, where you literally mirror their distress as a way to help them to move past the distress, which is different than what fathers do. So, and all you need to do is really look at fathers in the park playing with their children versus mothers. Again, there are exceptions. There are mothers who are not emotionally available, have been raised in a way where their own mothers weren't sensitive, empathic nurturers, and don't sort of have developed defenses to not be sensitive, empathic nurturers. But for the most part, our hormones influence our caretaking behaviors.
Yes, and so the example you gave of the same sex, the gay couple, could also apply to the lesbian couple. So one would be the more playful, rough and tumble, and the other would be the more nurturing one.